it's all that's left of you. Backdoor things stormed out in a mood. Curtain call shows that you won't leave soon. Just gotta get your head in the right place. Alone, so you fake it. Come back, but you're not changing. I thought we wanted the same thing. I'm so tired of running, and all the hearts you're running. Another small and apology. We all fake love the same way. Tell me what you really mean. I thought we wanted the same thing. Another lie to keep the peace. We all fake love the same way. A beating heart lies beneath your floor. Buried deep, the truth that you want more. I'll let you stay 'cause I'm lonely. Speaking soft, you say hold me. I fall for it every time. You always hear the same damn lines. We all fake love the same. Pretend to numb the pain. I'm so tired of running, and all the hearts you're running. Another smile and apology. We all fake love the same way. Tell me what you really mean. I thought we wanted the same thing. Another lie to keep the peace. We all fake love the same way. Another smile and apology. We all fake love the same.
Hello, guys. Are we live? Has my thing worked? One sec, guys. I think I may have done a cock up here. I don't think I set it up correctly. Give me a second. Oh no. Okay. Right. The chat is working. Therefore, I must be live. Thank you, guys. I thought I didn't set up something right, but we are apparently that is apparently the case. So there we go. We're good. Hello, guys. Welcome. That's my bad. We're here now. There we go. I can now see the chat properly. Lovely stuff. There we go. Hello, Jack. How we doing? I'm nervous. The players are over celebrating. I'll focus on the FA Cup final. Hello, Tom says hello. Canvey says hello. Tom said we did it. Douglas marching towards number 5 and the biggest transition of them all. Yes, absolutely, Douglas. Welcome, guys, to Touchline Talk. Later than usual. That's totally my bad. That was because I was watching basketball last night. I can't lie. So that's why that's why we're slightly delayed today. Because there was a basketball game that I wanted to watch last night. So that is why I'm slightly late. Hopefully you can forgive me. And it was a fan of one of the, and this is a fan of one of the teams, and sadly his team threw it away in the last minutes for no reason at all. But there we have it. But yeah, Tom, I've been great. How about you? That was the one, Canva. Yeah, I wanted the Pacers to win, but as I say, they did the inbound thing and then just gave it away. They should not have lost from that position. I have no idea what went on there. Hello, Louise says champions. A PJ. This isn't a PJ top. This is a raglan. This is just like a raglan top. This isn't a pajama top. No. Yeah, well, that was crazy. This is just like a stand. It's actually one of my gym tops, to be honest. But yeah, YouTube is bugging at the moment. Yeah, it was because I always like check it on my phone to make sure it comes through, and like the thumbnail was like not correct, and then I didn't know what was going on. But if you guys are all here, so obviously we are live and it is working. As you come in, please drop a like on the video, on the stream. If you still enjoy these touchline talks, usually reckons one person is watching. Fairs, man. I mean, hey, we've fallen off massively. So I've no idea how many people are watching, because apparently there's only one. But if one person could like the video, that would be great. But yeah, guys, so I didn't really know what to talk about today, because obviously we had the big sort of, you know, post West Ham, City have won 4 in a row vibe in the post-mortem. I don't, and I think I mentioned, if I didn't, I'll mention it again. I'll mention it again. I'm currently working on a video, which will basically be, the title of the video is going to be like you know, a proper YouTube upload, not like a live stream or anything. And it's not going to be one of my, you know, casual stand-up in front of my touchscreen ones. It's going to be one of my more detailed, sit-down, edit vibes, you know, like my Foden, De Bruyne video, that sort of thing. So there's going to be quite a lot of work going into it, and it's going to be... It is going to be, as I say, an explanation of how Man City won the title. In my opinion, there were 3 phases to this season, same as last season, actually. I'll be covering all the tactics involved throughout the season, the formations, as I say, the systems, what worked, what didn't work, and like what were the ultimate like storylines of how City won the Premier League. If you are a YouTube member, then you'll already have seen one of the big reasons as to why we won the Premier League. I've been crunching the numbers and looking at the data, and there's one really nice bit of information which I've illustrated in a nice graph. So as I say, if you're a YouTube member, hopefully you've already seen that in the community exclusive members tab. If you want to get a sneak peek of that, then feel free to become a member. The link is in the description. You don't have to, because you'll see it whenever I release the video. But if you can't wait, if you want to know exactly what I'm talking about now, I'm sure I'll leak other stuff as we go through. And yeah, and Will, that is definitely something we will be talking about. Yeah, so I don't really want to focus too much on the Premier League 4 in a row today. Obviously, if you guys have got questions on it, then we can address it, of course, because this is a Q&A situation. But for the most part today, I wanted to discuss the upcoming FA Cup final, the Ederson situation, and maybe like something, because I watched like Hassam and Lee Gunner's stream yesterday it was, and they were having a chat about, you know, I think that the thrust of the conversation was essentially Hassam saying to Lee, you can't really beat Pep, and Lee was saying that he doesn't agree with that. So I thought that might also be a nice little side topic at some point, maybe just to have a chat about how do we think you can beat Pep? What does history tell us? Is there a way to do it on a consistent basis, or is this a case of you got to wait him out? As I said, that might be a nice little interesting side topic. But in the first instance, guys, get your comments in, get your questions in. Thank you guys for joining me today. Neil says the world is against us. Players should be back in training. Yes, Jack, I hope you're correct. Big up to you, mate. The world's against City for the charges. The boring thing, perhaps from kickoff channels, success is incredible. People hate City. People do indeed hate us. That's not incorrect to say. Hi, dealing with a hate fest from rivals. I will say it was a little bit disappointing that I'm not complaining against Mo or anything like that. But I went on, you know, Judge Mo's channel on Monday, and I guess I was just a little bit disappointed that obviously City won the title 4 in a row. I was hoping that we were going to maybe, you know, be talking about the storylines from the season, as I say, the tactics, you know, stuff that I like to talk about. You know, what were the structures in place to help City win? Conversely, what could Arsenal have done better? That sort of thing. And we did touch on that a little bit, but sort of like final hour just descended into talk on the charges and whether City are guilty and I just thought it's so boring and it's so tiring. Like it's been spoken about to death and nothing's changed since the charges were dropped, basically. And like people have been asking me, do an update video. Nothing's changed in terms of like the factual information. We don't know any more than we did this time last year, and it's just getting as I say, it's just like getting boring. I understand why people want to talk about it, but there's only so much you can say outside of, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's innocent until proven guilty. If you read the doc, then you'll know that they probably won't get found guilty. But and it's just tiring speaking to people and like reading comments from people who've made their decision already, regardless of like what the outcome's going to be. So again, in the light of City doing an historic thing, it is a little bit frustrating and tiring, as I say, that we can't. And we're not allowed to celebrate because like immediately people are like, and again, I know why people do it because it's sour grapes, but it's just boring. It's just really boring. And from my perspective, I just can't wait for the Chargers situation to be dealt with because it's just getting really, really, really boring. It's that's not content for me. That's just like, I don't even know what it is because again, I'm not having to go at anyone in particular. No one has anything worthwhile to say on it who hasn't already said things on it. If people are talking about it in a negative light, those people basically have no input on it and they don't have anything of relevance or notes to say. I imagine those people haven't even read the infamous cast document. And I say so many times, just read it, guys. Just read it, and then come. Don't believe me. Listen to watch it. Read it and come to your own conclusions. So yeah, it's just incredibly boring. Hopefully, we can move on from it at some point. Thank you so much, MCFC, the $20 super chat. Incredibly generous of you. How are you doing, mate? Yes, Nobbins, how are you doing, mate? Keep up the good work. It's crazy how football discourse on social media whenever we win something. Insanity at the point where I don't even want to open Twitter. Also, Bruno G. Yeah, I'd say what we will talk about, like Bruno G and the whole like maybe Paquetá situation as well, because in the light of like this unbelievable Foden season, and I still think that we should get Paquetá personally, but I wonder whether, especially with the whole Chargers situation over Paquetá. Speaking of charges, we love a charge, don't we? Do we just bank on, given how wonderful Foden's been this season, and especially in the latter stages of the season with his chance creation over larger distances? Do we just bank on Foden becoming that guy? It's a big risk. Do we take that risk? Do we say, Paquetá, we're not even really interested in you anymore? Do we just focus all on Bruno G? And do we trust Mateus Nunes? Do we trust Kovacic? Do we trust Foden to be able to replicate what Paquetá can offer? It's a big risk. I still think that I would go in for him personally, because I think if you can get both, get both. But if you can only get one, I'm definitely erring more towards Bruno G, to be honest. I have been flip-flopping a little bit across the season. As you guys know, I wanted the left back, and then Gavardio did his thing. Now I think we need a right back. I wanted a long space creator, and then Foden started doing his thing more consistently. And now I don't know whether that's even needed. So it's a tricky one. But MCFC, thank you so much for your generous super chat. I don't know what currency that is. 75 AED is equivalent to $20.42. I don't know what AED is. If anyone knows, I'd be very interested. Wouldn't be us. No. What do Australians use? Do they just use the dollar, or is an Australian dollar different to a US dollar? I don't know. AED. Let me know. You are loved a lot. Thank you, Faisal. Yeah, we'll talk about Ederson definitely. How much legs do you think Arteta out should have? See, and I guess this is maybe like what come. Oh, the UAE Durham. Thank you for confirming. And this is like, I guess this is like where it comes to the whole. Again, let me know what you guys think. If you were an Arsenal fan, because I think people are entitled to their opinion. I thought of this topic from the Lee Gunner Hassam situation. Shout out Hassam and Lee Gunner, very, very funny people. I enjoy their content. I personally don't think I would, if I was an Arsenal fan, I don't think I would agree with Lee about the whole Arteta situation. I've gone on record before in saying that I personally really like Arteta, and that I know lots of City fans don't, but if Pep leaves now, and you're like, who if you can bring in anyone, who would you bring in? I would personally bring in Arteta if I could bring in anyone. I really like how he plays football. I think his defensive structures are incredibly sound. I think that most people would agree that Arsenal have been the best defensive side in Europe. I understand why people don't want Arteta because of the whole partisan, this relatively new rivalry between Arsenal and City, title rivals. But just looking at it from a tactical perspective, also the fact he was our assistant, so there is that sort of connection there as well. He has a similar philosophy to Pep. I would like Arteta. in respect of, because the justification of like sacking him is obviously to bring someone in to challenge Pep. All I would say on that is if we look at history and we look at the 3 managers who have beaten him, I also don't think Arteta would join, by the way, Musty. I agree. I don't think City would be able to attract Arteta because of the Arsenal connection. If we look at history and we look at the instances in which Pep was defeated in the league, it's only happened 3 times in his, 14-year career as a manager. I mean, if we want to include Barca B, 15. If we're talking about, from his appointment at Barca, it was Real Madrid in 2012. And how did Mourinho do that? Well, he had one of the best squads in world football at the time. He had Özil and Ronaldo and Pepe and Ramos and Casillas and who else was in the midfield? Was it Xabi Alonso? Di Maria, I think, was there at the time. Who were the other forward players and midfielders? Khedira, Fabio Contrao, I believe. A super team, basically. And he got 100 points. And he outscored Pep's Barcelona that year. And Pep's Barca got like 90. It's not like Pep's Barca struggled that year. They got like 94 points, I think, in 2012. Real Madrid were Centurions that year. A lot of people don't talk about those Real Madrid Centurions, but they got 100 points. That was the only way Mourinho was able to beat Pep. At Bayern, no one got close. City, first season Conte did it, but let's be real, that wasn't really Pep City. That was first season City. And then Klopp's Liverpool did it by getting 99 points. I still think that Klopp's Liverpool would have done it even without the injury City had that year. Thank you so much again for the $10 super chat. Again, MCF's incredibly generous. I'll come to your comments in a moment. That's very generous of you. Yeah, I think that even if City didn't have like the Vincent Kompany, leaving, Laporte getting injured, Stones getting injured, so we had to play like a second string back 4 and shove Rodri into the deep end immediately. Klopp still probably would have won that league title, and he did that by getting 99 points. So that tells me that the only way, outside of you being like perfect in respect to 100 points from Mourinho, 99 points from Klopp, the only way you're going to do it is if you catch City in an off season. And I've gone on record saying this. To be fair, this was an off season. We've touched on this. This was a great opportunity for Arteta and Arsenal to win. So you have to catch us in an off season, and or I think you have to directly beat us. Sorry, I've got to open the door because Evie's kicking off. Evie, come on, darling. There you go. Come on. She wants to get out. Because if we have a look at like the title race situations with Liverpool and Arsenal, Liverpool didn't beat us at all in 18-19. It was a draw and a loss, and that was where the title was lost for them because I know that's not how titles work, but just trying to summarize, because they only lost by, was it 1 point? I think we got 98, they got 99. So us beating them at the Etihad was the difference maker. Had they drawn that game, then they probably would have won in that respect. The next title race against Liverpool in 21-22, I think we won by 2 points. And again, they didn't beat us on both instances. Had they just beaten us once, then they would have won it. Against Arsenal last season, we beat them twice. Arsenal this season, they missed out on 2 points, and that 2 points difference could have been at the Etihad if they'd beaten us. So in that instance, we actually did better against the majority of the rest of the league than Arsenal did. Is that what that means? I think it does. Yeah. So you have to at least catch City in an off season. If you don't, you better beat them twice. You better beat us twice, sorry. You absolutely can't lose. And again, preferably, you probably need to win both times. in order to give yourself the best chance, because there's a good chance City will do better against the rest of the teams than you. But to be fair, in the seasons where that didn't happen, where City didn't do that, like against Liverpool, City then just beat Liverpool. So that's what you have to do to beat Pep, as I say. I personally don't think Arteta should have legs. Great manager. You would say that of all the teams in the league, who's best placed to, even though I think that the gap between City and Arsenal will increase next season, who's in the best position to take on City? It's Arsenal, isn't it? It's Arteta's Arsenal. Chelsea will be there in a couple of years, but it's too soon for them. Liverpool, jury's out in terms of what Slot's going to do in his first season as Liverpool manager. United are going to take, I think, like at least 5 years before they are in any decent, and that's if they get the appointments right. Newcastle, again, they're a few years away. So you'd say Arteta. So I personally don't think you sack him. And who do you even get? There's not many title-challenging managers out there who would fit the mold. Conte's available, but he's not been great the past couple of appointments. Ancelotti's obviously not available, and he's not even good at challenging for league titles, guys. I think he's only won 6 league titles in his career, which started in the 90s. Questions to be asked about Ancelotti. I don't rate him as much as other people. But yeah, there's not many title challenging managers out there, are there? Kickoff, we don't care about City, make 30-minute video criticizing City and Pep. What did they even talk about in that video? What did they even talk about? Definitely never read the document. And that's something, people don't need to believe me. They can read it and come to their own conclusions about what they think. And that's not the be-all and end-all. Look, the independent panel will have new documents because that's how it works. But in terms of what we have in the public domain, this document's basically it. In terms of like what's relevant to the case. That's all we can really base it off as hopefully logical people. So yeah. I've love a company got the move to Brighton. Yeah, the De Zerbi move's interesting. I have no idea where he's going to go. Hello, Ayushi. Thank you for your support as always. Kickoff was sad. You have to do something better to do. Duram's, yeah, UAE, thank you for confirming. Arteta a dog, a lot of respect for the guy, says Tone. There's 2 tones then. Arteta out of bullshit, says Eden. He's a class manager, his only fault is that he's playing in the Pep Guardiola era. And again, I'm not going to give him a total pass because in my opinion, he could have done better this season. There were some moments, as we discussed on the last stream, that there was an opportunity here, a very good opportunity, and it wasn't taken. So yeah, I don't think Arteta would join us. Yeah, I think I agree. Nothing much. I'm Guardiola. Hello, pal. I'm doing great. And here's a super chat from MCFC. Thank you so much, Ray. Could you make a potential lamp next season if we get Bruno, Paquetá, Frimpong? Also, do you think we'd have a chance at Alonso next year if Pep leaves? He seems destined to go to Real Madrid, doesn't he? His contract with Leverkusen perfectly matches up with Ancelotti's. Obviously, there's a connection between Alonso and Real Madrid. I think it makes the most sense for him to go there, personally. In terms of those signings, I don't personally see how Frimpong fits unless we change system. Unless we change to like a back 5 out of possession as well. I don't think Pep's ever done that in his managerial career. That's why I was shocked at the Frimpong rumours personally. I just don't see it. But again, in the current setup, we would have to change system, I think, or to accommodate that signing. It wouldn't work. Paquetá and Bruno in the current system, that's easy. You just play Bruno where Kovacic has played. You just play Paquetá where, when you need to rest De Bruyne, play him there. That's an easy enough. That's easy in terms of like they slot perfectly in. Frimpong, I don't see it unless we change. Absolutely. Yeah, YouTube's apparently messed up. There's not only 3 people watching. I imagine there's a fair few. However many people are watching. Let's have a proper indication of how many people are watching. So I know, guys. If you haven't liked the video already, lads, leave a like on the video. Just so I know how many people are here, because YouTube is bugging, as we say. Off-season still got 90%. That's what I mean. That's a good point as well. This is why I don't have any sympathy. Arsenal have not been perfect this year. You don't clear 90 points, you don't have a chance, realistically. If City need to get 90 points, they're going to get over 90 points. You got to at least break that barrier before we entertain that conversation. Zidane City in 2025 if Pep leaves. I don't like Zidane as a manager, Nitin. Again, he's one of those, in my opinion, he's in the overrated bracket for me. I'm not saying he's bad, but people think that he's something he's not for me. I also did everything right from Jan onwards, bar Villa. It was December that lost it. And Will, you're absolutely right. They only got 40 points in the first 19 games. And we only got 40 points. And that was the point. You had to take advantage of that. You had to take advantage of that spell where we won 1 in 5. And it was our worst ever spell, and Pep's worst ever spell as a manager. 1 win in 5. And we were all over the place. And Walker was a detriment. And Alvarez was a detriment. And De Bruyne was out. And Rodri was suspended. And da-da-da-da. And with that opportunity, they didn't do anything. And you're absolutely right. That ultimately is where it was won and lost at this title. Then they, in my opinion, made the wrong bet when they came to the Etihad. They bet on themselves to do better than City over the course of 9 games. That's a big risk. That's a risky bet. That is not. You're not going to get. No, you'll get very good odds on that bet. Yeah. What do you think of the Poch stuff? The Poch stuff is crazy, isn't it, Musty? Well, maybe it isn't, because some Chelsea fans have argued that this whole end of season form's a bit of a false dawn, and that it wasn't really good enough overall. I personally would have liked to have seen him given the next few months of the season, and I would have liked to see how that would have panned out. Could he have made it work? Because they finished 6th in the end, didn't they? I know it's not good enough that they were in mid-table for however long. It would have just been interesting to see that, because I feel that Chelsea is still in like the building process. So it'll be interesting to see what manager they get. If they get a win now manager, I think that's a mistake. The squad's not ready to win now. There's still so many young players. Your best player is a child in Cole Palmer. That should tell you that you're still in the squad building process. And that the mentality of let's go win trophies now isn't it for me. I think that Potter is probably a good manager for that. So I probably would have given him 1 more year at least. See how it pans out. If he takes him as far as he can, fine. Some of these players have had 4 different managers in the space of a couple of years. That can't be good for conformity. I just don't quite understand it. And continuity. Joe Second Poch is mental. No one comes close to Pep. Thoughts on the Sam. And you're not allowed to say fraud. Now, to be fair, I watched. I don't know if Hassam's still here. Let me know if you are, mate. I watched Hassam's Team of the Season live show yesterday with like 8 different panel members. So it was very chaotic. It was very funny. And genuinely, I was impressed with it. I thought that there was a lot of opportunity on that panel show for agendas to run, but I'm not just genuinely. The majority of that team of the season is exactly what I would have as the team of the season. I 100% agreed with the front 3. I 100% agreed with the midfield 3, and I agreed with the majority of the defence. Some of the arguments made by some people weren't sound, but I thought it was a really good team of the season. Again, I think Mo and the rest of us are doing it on his show, and I'm going to be arguing for the majority of those people. So, fair play. I didn't like how people kept trying to shove Foden in a left wing. He's played 3 games there this season. That annoyed me. But apart from that, no, yeah, it was perfect, I thought. Was my back 5. So I didn't really have any complaints about your defence, because I think it's a reasonable argument either way. Gvardiol obviously at left back. You had Gusto in at right back, and I'm a bit torn. In fact, chat, let me know. Who would you have? Because I think I'm still backing Ben White, but I could be convinced on Gusto. I think the right answer is Ben White, but let me know what you guys think. Are you having Ben White or are you having Gusto? I think it's between those two. If we're going for a right back, I agree. Did you have Van Dijk, Gabriel? I think maybe. I personally had Van Dijk, Saliba as my 2 centre backs, but I don't think there's a wrong answer there. And then my goalkeeper, again, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I personally have Pickford. I think goalkeeper's the worst position this year. I I had Pickford in because Martinez has had some clangers this year. You think of like the own goals, for example. Everton have like the 4th best record in the league. Only Arsenal, City, Liverpool have a better record. I know he's got Branthwaite and Tarkowski in front of him in a Sean Dyche system, but Pickford's been very good this season. So I don't think there's a wrong answer in terms of the keeper, really. I think you had Martinez. That's fine. That's fine as well. And that's annoying. Hassam, if Alisson, because Alisson was, and on the right back, Trent was the correct answer, but then he got injured, and then he didn't play enough games and/or didn't really come back to his full abilities after the injury. Same with Liverpool as well, and the same with Alisson. Like December, it was like goalkeeper and right back were easy. Yeah, it's Alisson, it's Trent, but then the fall off, the injuries, it makes it a bit tricky. But yeah, as I say, I did like your team. I thought it was very good. Hello, Terrell. How you doing, mate? The likes are also broke. What is going on with YouTube, man? Everything's going well with me, Eric. Eric, did you come to Manchester? Did you go to that restaurant I recommended? Let me know. You're not Mario. You're Jorgen. They fell over transfer power. I see. Chelsea do strike me as a club who they need to have full authority and say. So which is wrong, I think. They should have some input from the manager. But yeah, interesting. Arsenal did do quite well. They beat us in our worst moments this season. Yeah, and that was fine. But even then, I know they got the result, and you can say that's all that really matters. But even then, let's be honest, guys. That game was a 0-0 without Rodri and without De Bruyne, without Stones, without Bernardo Silva. Even then, I would argue that on most days that would have been a 0-0, and they wouldn't have taken advantage of it, and they took advantage of it by default, or by chance. Maybe that's me being harsh, and maybe you can say the results all that matters, but I wasn't particularly impressed. I didn't look at that game and say, yeah, they've taken this chance by the scruff of the neck. I took that as and that was both managers coached what was essentially a 0-0. That's how I interpreted that game anyway. Saka, when the results of football is bad, Saka have just got you into Europe. What a boy. Shall we maybe have a chat about Ederson? Yes, that's my team, Will. The only change I have is I have Van Dijk in over Gabriel, personally. I did recommend Hashim because it's bloody delicious. He'll be there in July. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, Eric, if you need a refresher, let me know. But yeah, let's Ederson. Let's talk about Ederson, shall we? Because again, keep the Q&A section. It's a Q&A as it always is on Wednesday morning / early afternoon. So keep the comments coming in if you would like to. Leave a like on the stream if you have thumbs. If you don't, if you have fingers, do it then. If you don't have thumbs or fingers, use your nose. So let's talk about. We're talking about how to beat Pep. We'll also touch on the FA Cup final before we wrap up. Obviously, we've still got like another at least 30 minutes to go. Let's talk about the Ederson situation though, because it's a little bit worrying. I don't know what's more worrying from my perspective: the announcement from the Ederson camp, which is what it must be, or the reaction from a certain section of City fans. I don't know which one I find more concerning. I think probably the latter. I still think that Ederson is a very misunderstood footballer at City. I don't think that he's appreciated by City fans, or by enough City fans. Let's say. I'm not saying anyone in particular or anyone necessarily in this chat. We should promote a young goalkeeper from the academy second choice and keep Carson. No, I don't agree. No. Ortega cannot be our number one, guys. That must not happen. Ortega is a very, 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 very good goalkeeper, and he's a great shot stopper. He is not ambitious enough when it comes to claiming crosses, nor is he good enough in respect to distribution for a Pep side. He's good at distributing. He's not good enough for City across a season. Not good enough. His shot prevention isn't good enough for a Pep City side as a number one. He's not good enough. He's not good enough at commanding his area in respect of claiming crosses. He's not good enough at snuffing out attacks and through balls before they even materialise. He's not good enough at preventing shots in respect of the distribution aspect of things. Shot prevention is not only about the direct defensive actions, it's also about ball passing actions. Ederson prevents attacks from happening with his distribution. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's take the Anfield game, for example. Again, this isn't a me shitting on Ortega affair. I love this man. We don't win the title this season without him, I don't think. Wonderful goalkeeper. He's only played like 9 games this season in the league. He's objectively one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League based on the data. So I know his worth full well. Let's take the Anfield game, for example. Ortega got a lot of praise in that game, rightly so. Because he did a couple good saves, a fair few good saves to be fair. So I'm not trying to shit on him here, but there was at least 2 moments where you have to ask the question: why did he have to save that? There was like one. I remember there was like one highlight, like one clip or compilation on Twitter, and it was sort of like, and it was an Ortega save. But the clip cut out the preceding 10 to 15 seconds where Ortega gave the ball away, which led to the attack. So I don't think that should be something we should be praising a keeper for. Remedying their own mistake. That's like a neutral situation. That's not a net positive. That's a neutral. They made a mistake, negative. They amended the mistake, neutral. Do you see? So that is an example of Ortega not being as good as shot preventing, because he caused that shot by not being good enough in respect of build-up. And again, I'm not having a go at him, but this is what people scoff when I said on LB's channel yesterday, and I tweeted about it, when I bring up shot prevention. And people scoffed at it and called me a tactico. And I'm not a tactico, guys. I don't know nearly enough about tactics to be called that. But that's just like common sense, I feel like. I'm not inventing new terms in order to protect Ederson. This is modern football. And this is Pep's football. And this is Man City's football. We do need to be considering these other things. In 2024, it's not enough to just look at whether he's good at saving shots. It's not good enough. How good are you stopping them at source? And every goalkeeping coach will tell you, especially in the modern era, would you rather stop a shot, or would you rather prevent a shot from ever materializing? In the same way that would you rather have some Calpol, or would you rather have the cure for a cold? Do you want Calpol or do you want the cure? Obviously, you want the cure. You don't want the treatment. You want the cure, and it's the exact same thing. Do you want a bandage on your wound, a temporary bandage, or do you want it stitched up to totally cure it and prevent the bleeding, etc., and prevent infection? That's what you want, and that's what shot prevention is. And again. And this is why, shut up, Liam. And this is the perfect antithesis to what Ederson is. It's not Ortega, because again, Ortega's decent at distributing, he's decent at preventing shots, but nowhere near the level of Ederson. Only Neuer can challenge Ederson in that respect. The antithesis, the opposite, is think of David De Gea. He was a world-class keeper from 2014 through to 2016, 17-ish. That sort of vibe. Now, why was it world-class? Because he was born into an era, same with Joe Hart, where it was shot stopping and shot stopping alone, which is essentially what determined whether you were going to be a great keeper or not. I know that's a very basic dumbing down of it, but essentially that's what it was. That's why he's such a great keeper, fantastic shot stopper. But from sort of like 2017, 2018 onwards, people started to realize that this guy does not come off his line, and they got the nickname David de Glue. And this guy does not come for crosses. And he's doing some great shot stopping, but actually when he's asked to play out from the back, he's actually creating chances for the opponent. So it's actually, again, in the modern era, it's a net negative. You need Ederson. Don't worry, guys. I'll come to the comments in a moment. I just want to finish my point here. This is why you need an Ederson in today's game. And here's the other thing. Ederson is 30 years old, and Ortega's 31. If Ortega was like 25, and he could be coached to be this brilliant distributor and this brilliant cross-claimer, and, you know, this brilliant, as Tone says, aggressive keeper and proactive keeper rather than passive, then I'd be interested in the notion of Ortega's good enough to be our number one. But he's older than Ederson. Look at Manuel Neuer. He's 38 years old, and he is still one of the best preventative keepers in the world, and maybe even still the greatest proactive keeper in the world at 38 years old. I'm not saying Ederson's the level of Neuer, but I am saying that demonstrates that there is longevity in this game. 30 for a keeper in 2024. I mean, 30's always been young for a keeper. I feel like, especially in the modern era, that is young. There's still at least another 5 years at the absolute highest level for Ederson. The other thing, but again, before I get into the comments, the other thing I want to say is that there's two things. Who are we going to bring in? If you think Ortega, that I can't get back. No, that can't happen. We'd have to bring in a proper number one. In which case, who is there? The other thing that I want to bring up is this idea that, well, Ederson's not a good shot stopper, so that's all. I don't agree with that at all. This season, again, by the objective statistical metrics of I don't know what's going on with the view, guys. Clearly broken. Don't worry about it though, guys. Based on like the best stat for shot stopping is post-shot expected goals less goals against. This is the greatest metric for shot stopping that exists out there in like the public domain. It's freely available on FBref. Now, I'm not saying that Ederson is a wonderful shot stopper, but he is at 0. So he's at a neutral in respect of his shot stopping this season. What does that tell us? That tells us that across the course of this Premier League season, he has stopped the shots that he should have stopped, and he didn't stop the shots that he reasonably shouldn't have been expected to stop. That's what that means. He's not like a negative. David Raya, for example, is in the negatives. He's been bad at shot stopping based on that metric. Again, Ortega's been very good, as we've established. But sure, we'll see. But and also across the course of his Man City career, there's only been like 1 or 2 seasons where that's been in the negative. I think the reason why people look at Ederson as a bad shot stopper, which isn't correct, I know it's an isolated instance, that guy saved us in the Champions League final, is because of the way City play. The reason why we concede the first shot on target so much isn't to do with our keeper, it's to do with how high up the pitch we press, how high our defensive line is, and also the mentality of the opposition who know that they're not going to get that many chances to score, so they've got to make sure that every single attack is worthwhile. You know, think of like a cheetah. I'm going to use a David Attenborough analogy. When a cheetah hunts a gazelle, does it waste its energy by pursuing every single target, or does it give up early and pursues when it realizes it can't pursue a certain bit of prey? It gives up and it preserves its energy. I think it's the same thing with opposition players. So they make the most of their attacks when they have them. That's why we can see the first shot on target so much. It's not really a goalkeeping or Ederson issue. It's more a systemic issue, one which we have accepted as a Man City Football Club. We've accepted that, sure, sometimes We are going, and by the way, and that's not just me bullshitting. That's reflected in the data. There is a brilliant graph. I've bookmarked it on Twitter, which demonstrates it's like a 4-pronged graph, and it shows low shot high XG, low shot low XG. Arsenal, for example, are in the low shot low XG per shot. Low goals, low XG per shot thing, bottom left. City are in the low shot high XG per shot thing, and again, that's by design. So by design, we are getting these low frequency shots but high XG. So of course, Ederson's going to let quite a lot of those in because again, it's by design. So I'm a big Ederson defender. For me, one of our most important players. I cannot back any idea that he should not be our number one. And I know I'm rambling here. I'll get into the comments in a moment. Just the last thing on this. He's not had a contract extension since 2021. He is so underpaid relative to our squad, relative to goalkeepers in the Premier League, relative to goalkeepers across Europe and indeed the world. Data, you are too obsessed by stats. I'm not carnivore, but some data is relevant. It is not, of course, if he's been a great shot stopper. I'm not saying he's a great shot stopper. I don't know where that's come from. I said he's a decent shot stopper, which he objectively is. He's not Alisson level, and he's not Ortega level, and he's not Neuer level, but he is objectively a good, competent, decent shot stopper for a Premier League standard. And then you couple in everything else we've discussed. So let's have a look. Let's catch up on the chat. Absolute jokers, says Jack Athenis in reference to the Ederson haters. Ederson's one of the best and most important players. Musty, totally agree. We can't play again in 2024. You can't play Pep's football without him. If people want to name names, there's the Porto keeper. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what other up-and-coming ball-playing, shot-preventing keepers there are in the world. But there's no one better out there than Ederson currently. Let's just say that. Distribution nowhere near Ederson's level. No one's is. Even Ederson, even Neuer's, I'd say. No, because genuinely, he's really good at shot stop. No, Liam, his shot stopping is quality. I'm not even overselling it. It is really, really good. But no, you're right. That probably is too far. Or taking made time when Saban is being praised for it, just fire blip, Essence remain at number one. No, Brand, I agree, yeah. And this isn't an Ortega diss. I love Ortega. I tweeted and give him a lifetime contract. I want Ortega to stay. But do I want him as my number one? No. No. Hello, Glenn. Normally a silent viewer. I love my silent viewers. If you're a silent viewer, by the way, guys, feel free to put, lurk in the chat just so that I know you're here. You don't have to engage in the conversation if you don't have to. I've got almost respect for you. Keep up the good work and congrats on the 4P. Thank you so much, Glenn. Big up to you, mate. Love that from you, my mate. Shout out to all my silent viewers. I'd rather go shut up. Did you already talk about it? If big up, did you already talk about if United have the profiles to a proper 4-2-2 like Leipzig? Probably not because of the whole Rashford situation. Probably not. Because you would suspect that to utilize Rashford, you need to use your wide players in a wide manner. Leipzig's width tends to come from their fullbacks. So I don't think that's a thing, personally, at United, unless there's a big change there. The opposite of Ederson's Courtois. Courtois' world-class shot stopper with the ball at his feet is 100% Latimus. I agree. Hello, Leon. Keeper situation's tricky. None of us will agree on this. Eddie needs to stay 100%. And yeah, and I don't know if people have again, on LB's show, I don't know if people were not listening to what I was saying or misinterpreting what I was saying. Not once did I say that Ederson is a flawless goalkeeper and makes zero mistakes and that he can't improve. Again, I'll repeat, there have been some seasons this season where he's been bad at shot stopping from an objective standpoint. But there have also been seasons where he's been good. And there have been seasons where he's been neutral. He's not awful at shot stopping. He's not brilliant at shot stopping. He is good and fine at shot stopping. He is brilliant at distributing. He's brilliant at prevention, as we've discussed. And yes, sometimes he makes mistakes. At Anfield, gave away the penalty. That was stupid. Sometimes but that comes with the territory. It's not. I'm not trying to excuse it, but in the same way that City's sometimes when City play it from the back, we make a mistake. That comes with the territory. It's about net profit and net gain, and whether there's value in it. That's why I will always back him. And again, if you watch City consistently, you know full well what Ederson's offering. It's not always the flashiest thing. It's not as flashy as a world-class save, but it's just as valuable, sometimes more so. No matter what happens, one of those two will leave. Club have to sign a keeper, irrespective of what happens. I hope that's not the case in this, but if so, I would much rather. It's much easier to sign a number 2 than it is an Ederson. I don't know who is out there who could replace Ederson. Because I love Ortega, but it's not him. It's not him. SSD and shotstopper, I think people double down way too much. Yeah, exactly, Toby. I mean, he is the best ball-playing keeper in the world. I'm comfortable in saying that. He's one of the best shot preventers in the world. I'm comfortable in saying that. And he's a fine shot stopper. He's fine. Pep wouldn't employ a bad shot stopper. It just wouldn't happen. No matter how good he is with his feet. Otherwise, he'd just play, like, Phil Foden in goal. Hello, Gent, how are we doing? I build from the back reeks when Ederson doesn't play. Exactly, Musty. And especially, and that's the thing, guys. People do not press us high consistently. Why? Why don't they do it? Because of who's in goal. So now we are at they used to do it early on, like a few years ago. Don't really do it anymore. Why? Because they know it's a fruitless endeavour. If we have a goalkeeper in who can't do that, then they will be pressing us high, and they will give us less time on the ball, and that will in turn lead to a worse build-up structure for City. So again, Ederson is so good at distributing and building out from the back, we aren't even seeing teams attempt to press us high, and you'll see that again if we bring in Ortega. So the grass isn't always greener, is what I'm saying. And in this instance, we've put slug repellent down, and now there's no slugs. Now people are saying, well, there's no slugs, so get rid of the repellent, because they'll never come back. The slugs will come back. We're planting cabbages. We're planting lettuce. Of course the slugs are going to come back. I don't know what that analogy is, but I think it works. Ederson is slug repellent, and the high press are slugs, and our build-up is lettuce. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. That is a great analogy, to be fair. Every year, Pep seems to change the formation. What do you expect next year? It will be player dependent, 100% Brie. Pep works with what he's given. That's why he did the whole Walker-Gvardiol situation. A is a lot more than just a keeper. Why do you think Pep going in the Leon? Totally agree, mate. Yeah, that's great. Look at those ratios, guys. That's crazy. And that's the thing as well. I don't even know who's available, Toby. I don't even know who is available. I'd be well up for doubling Ederson's pay. Buffon. The thing again, but Buffon is again. Buffon would not play for City because he couldn't play out from the back. Not his fault. He was in an era which didn't emphasise that. But if we just pick out prime Buffon and pop him in the City side now, Pep would not pick Buffon over Ederson. I'm telling you right now, guys, it wouldn't happen. Eyes first, stats second. Yeah, exactly. The way to analyse football is because people, it annoys, and this is why like people are wrong, because people in some chats say you're a stat merchant, people in other chats say I'm an eye test merchant. The point is that you need both. You need to, the best way to scout a player is watching them first of all. Watch them in one game. Then watch them in multiple games. And then against multiple opponents. And then look at the stats. Come to the conclusions based on what your eyes tell you. First of all, I think this player is good at X. Then go to the data. Does that correlate? If it does, you're probably onto something. If it doesn't, go back and try again. Like Grealish, for example, when he first joined us, the first season, everyone was saying he was shit. I was like, well, I think he's offering us this, i.e. getting us up the pitch and getting us into dangerous areas, and actually creating a lot of opportunities from his fouls. Keep watching him. Yeah, he seems to keep doing that. what does the data say? Oh, he's in the top 1% for progressive carries into the final third and into the penalty area. And he's in the top 1% for goal-creating actions from fouls drawn. Huh. It seems to correlate. That's the way to analyze. Not to, in my opinion anyway, not to focus on one or the other. 100%. We've got all our lurkers, lovely stuff. Jack, you're not lurking, shut up. Hello, Shadow Viper, Safer. You're not lurking, you fraud, Liam. No, it was his fault, Hidden. I agree it was his fault. I totally agree. Big Brother's always watching. Brilliant. I've no idea how Donnarumma, because Donnarumma, how old is Donnarumma? Because he started like being a senior goalkeeper like 18 years old. In fact, I'm going to check. Donnarumma. He is 25 years old. And he's been playing senior football since 2015. So let's make it 2016, just because that's the end of the year. That's 8 years ago. So what is that? So he's been playing. So he's been a senior player since he's 17, 18 years old. How can it be that... Sorry, and when was he? So that was 8 years ago. So that was 2016. How can you be starting your senior career in 2016 at 18 years old and not be a ball-playing goalkeeper? How is that possible? Because you will have seen Alisson and Ederson and Neuer, and you'll have seen the paradigm shift from shot stopping into ball playing and shot prevention and distributing. How has this guy not learned how to? He plays like he's Buffon, but without the shot stopping. And I'm not saying he's bad shot stopping, but he's a throwback goalkeeper in an era when that's not what football's going towards. It's very unusual. I just don't know how you can do that. He's like David De Gea, and he's like Buffon. He's a keeper from and Joe Hart. He's a keeper from a bygone era. I just don't get it. Whoever was his like goalkeeper coach should get sacked, to be honest, because they've destroyed his career. He's never going to be absolutely elite. You can't be. I don't think you can be, like, going forwards. Really, outside of some very, very, very minuscule examples like Courtois, who's like top 0.00001% shot stopping, or Oblak, again similar standard. It's not, and he's not that standard. That's really weird, really weird. They need to press us more. Let Edson show off his style dribbling, brilliant. And that is a great. No, that's not a crazy state. That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy because again, people have gotten complacent because teams aren't pressing us as much, so they don't remember when teams did do that or when teams do that when Ederson isn't there. When like Stefan was there or when Bravo was there, they couldn't do it to the same standard. I'm not saying Ortega's that level, but that will get reintroduced. Now that makes perfect sense. Sucks and actually works with who we're playing this weekend. Brilliant. Bear says when you scout, use stats to narrow it down to your fit and then use the eye test. Use both. I want 100% Bailey, 100% mate. Well said. Stats is not even second, it is fourth best. What is there outside of the eye test and stats? What else is there? There's using your eyes, and then there's using data. What's numbers 2 and 3? I'm curious as to what that is. Yeah, Donnarumma. He can't command his area. He's awful at claiming crosses. Every time I watch him, his distribution is shocking. He's the opposite of a modern keeper. It's terrible. It's about what goalkeeping coaches he had. And that's what I'm saying. Whoever coached him should get sacked. Donnarumma's a Luddite, innit? I don't know if he can at 25. I think that's it. I think that's it, to be honest. I think he's learned his patterns. I'd be very surprised if he becomes anything other than this. There's not been any improvement since he was at since he was at AC Milan. Every time I watch him at PSG, it's the same old story. Using agendas number 1. I'm just interested from Carnival because I like to think I'm relatively competent when it comes to, assessing players. And maybe I'm tooting my own horn there. But outside of like watching the player and using data, what else is there? Again, I'm willing to be educated on this, but I don't know. Because if you use your eyes, you're looking at everything that you can see with your eyes. And then, so that's like the tangibles. And then the intangibles are, well, I guess data is also tangible. Intangibles in respect to what you can't really see with your eyes. So, Carnival, please educate me. If stats are the 4th most important thing, and eye test is the most important thing, what are the 2nd and 3rd most important things? Again, I'm not having a go. I'm genuinely curious. Outside of using your eyes and using data, what else can you use? You need to know what tactics are meant to be played. But that's using your eyes, because that's the eye test. So I'm still waiting on the 2 things. Because, again, you can identify tactics by using your eyes. So what else is it? What else is it? Well, yes, because I can identify an in-possession structure and an out-of-possession structure by using my eyes. You can also do that by using data, by the way, by looking at average positions and formations. So the thing you mentioned there can be identified by using those two things, the eye test and data. What can you not identify with the eye test and data? Because tactics you can. Again, you can look. They're doing this formation. They're playing like this. They're overloading to isolate. Oh, look at the average position of X player. He's doing that. Look at the expected threat of Doku here. Clearly the play was to focus all the play through Doku. You haven't mentioned anything yet, which isn't just that. I'm still waiting. Press trigger says thing. Yeah, exactly, Tone. Yeah, and if we don't have Ederson there, you better believe they're going to be triggering the press on whoever that other poor goalkeeper is. What else is left? Says Lewis. Quad, Invincible, can Pep do it? I don't care about the being an Invincible, to be honest. That for me is up there with like, it would be a nice thing to have happen. I don't particularly consider it up there with like, winning 3 in a row, winning 4 in a row, doing a domestic treble, doing the treble, winning 4 domestic trophies in the season. It would be nice if we could somehow win, the League Cup and the FA Cup, etc. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's bro forwarded. Open a can of worms, haven't we? It's simple. Look at what you're seeing and analyze the data. Yeah, exactly. So that test tells you that the player is an idiot. Wait, what? That test, I'm guessing this is the eye test, tells you that player is an idiot, poor at what he does, or what the manager tells them. Well, the eye test will tell you if they're an idiot, yes, because if you watch them over the course of a season, and if they keep making bozo errors, then yes, it will. It will also tell you if they are poor at what they do, because again, if I'm watching a striker with my eyes, and I see them miss chance after chance after chance after chance after chance, that will tell me that they're bad, and that will be reflected in the XG versus shots. What the manager tells them, well, again, outside of speaking to the manager, which we can't do, your eyes should be able to tell you what the manager is asking of the team, because your eyes, again, if you are decent at analysing, you should be able to figure out why the manager is asking a player to do this. So yes, again, the eye test will tell you all of that. I'm still waiting on these two other things. Have you watched United this season? Sadly, I have. Players or the manager? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. Ten Hag's tactics are poor, if that's what you mean. And again, I can tell that by using my eyes. The distances between the midfield and the defense. I don't need anything other than the eye test and data to tell me that. You can tell by using your eyes, by looking at the gaps between the midfield and the defense. I'm still waiting on these two things. If you could just summarize them in 2 or 3 words. Eye test, data. What is the third thing? What is the fourth thing that we are talking about here? I don't quite know what's going on here, mate. I don't know if this is a wind-up. But this is very, very unusual. This is very unusual. For corners, every game Pep tells them that if you can't score them, don't concede them. Well, I remember especially at Barca, he basically said, look, we're vulnerable from set pieces, just don't give them away. Others claiming to use the eye test as you do, claiming it's all on the players. I've no idea what on earth this point is. I feel like you think this is some sort of mic drop, but I'm not being rude, Carnivore, but you don't know what you're talking about here. I'm very sorry if that comes across as rude and arrogant, but you're talking a lot of nonsense here. I'm still waiting on just what else are you talking about? There's eye test, there's data. What else is there? What else is there? Just let's stop going around in circles with these weird, flawed arguments. Give me a short, succinct thing, because you've implied there are 4 things that we can use, at least 4 things we can use to analyze football in the main, from a macro level. There's eye test, there's data. What else is there? Summarize it in 2 or 3 words. Summarize it. If people are saying it's the players, then they are incorrect. It's not. It's as simple as that. It's clearly. It might be one or the other, but clearly the main issue. The main issue is that the tactics are incredibly flawed. United are one of the worst coach teams in the Premier League. That's the reason why. I'll give Carnival one more chance, Hidden. One more chance. Just summarize it succinctly. Just 2 or 3 words per point. And then we'll move on. Because this is really worrying and boring, to be honest. Going to games. Again, that would just be the eye test, wouldn't it? As I purpose saying data is that unuseful, but data isn't that unuseful. You need both. You need to use your eyes. You need to use the data. That is a must. That is a must. Guys, I tell you what we'll do, guys. Just because we've been live for over now, we'll wrap up in the next 5 minutes or so. If you haven't liked the stream already, guys, please leave a like on the stream. YouTube is still absolutely clapped. So for me, it says we've got 1 person watching, which is absolutely iconic, guys. So thank you for that. But we do have over 100 likes, which is a much better indicator. No, Carnival, that is a fucking cop-out answer, bro. I can't explain it. Then you don't have an argument. You can't say that there are 4, because what you said by saying that data is the 4th most important thing, and eye test is 1, 2, 3. What you said there is there are 4 things. We've established this eye test. We've established this data. You can explain it in a short time because I've just explained 2 of them there. Eye test, done. Data, done. If you can't explain it succinctly, you don't have a fucking point, bro. You can't be. That is the most pedantic thing I've ever read. I suggest you take some coaching courses to understand what I mean. No, you don't understand what you are talking about because you're not saying anything, man. If you can't can't succinctly explain it in like 2 or 3 words, you haven't even given me an answer, bro. Because I don't think you can give an answer. Because again, without wishing to sound rude, I think you've put yourself into a position where you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying you're an idiot. I'm not going that far. But you are backing a battle which you don't even know why you are fighting. And if you can't give me an answer, that's no argument. That is no argument. Go on a coaching course. I don't have the time. Just say, you should have just like gone, okay, I was incorrect, let's move on. You don't have to go as far as saying you're an idiot. But you can't be so steadfast. You can't be so steadfast in an argument. I didn't make it personal. I didn't make it personal. I said he's not an idiot, but I did say he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about in that respect. I didn't make it personal at all. We'll be having less of that, Formidable. Less of that. He's clearly clickbaiting you. No, I don't think he is, Leon. I don't think he is. Guys, we're going to wrap up in 4 minutes. Do we have any final questions or thoughts? Any final questions or thoughts? I agree, Alf. I agree. Again, that's why I need data, and the eye tester supports that. It's not enough to just say, well, this is a thing. For example, people will say, oh, this defender has got more tackles and interceptions. Therefore he's a better defender. And it's like, well, that tells you more about the system and how the team set up. Oh yeah, we did even talk about the FA Cup final, did we? Sorry, I must repeat your question. We're obviously good. We will be doing a watch along on the weekend. Sadly, Gasky, my United fan friend, is not going to be available. Liam, fucking hell. Okay, allow me to rephrase in respect of what is worthwhile. Then Jesus, yeah. Sadly, my Man United friend's mate can't join us. So it's just gonna be me watching it. But we if you guys wanted to, we can make it a drinking game. Would you like it to be a drinking game? Let me know. We can do that. City will win. We should win. I don't know what the United injury situation is, but we are so much better than United. If we don't beat them and beat them comfortably, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing. I know, guys, sadly, Gasky's not going to be joining. That's my United fan friend. It's a shame, but he's in Grimsby for some god-awful reason, so he's not available. No, I'm not saying you guys need to drink with me. Drinking on your own is a bit sad. We drank... Oi, we did it for the League Cup game. And you guys enjoyed the League Cup final. So, you know... Mrs. Nobbins will not come on, guys. She will not come on the stream. She doesn't like coming on streams because she gets nervous. Predict how many seconds it will take for us to score. I'm going to say that it'll actually be 0-0 in the first half. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the United are going to be really defensive, and they will obviously be scarred from last season. And I'll say that we'll win 2-0. 2 goals in the second half is what I'm going to say. Say it, Liam. I'll drink, and yeah, you guys don't have to drink with me. It's not like, you know, that's not the point. You ever get drunk? Yeah, loads. I mean, I got too drunk in the World Cup final. That will never happen again, and it hasn't happened since. But the League Cup, I think you guys enjoyed the League Cup final when I got, you know, a little bit drunk. It's more so, you know, it's the League Cup. Oh, here you go. What's your favourite and least favourite moment of the season? Favourite and least favourite moment of the season. I don't actually know. A moment which is up there was probably like the fake grooming that went round the Arsenal stadium. That was really funny. Favourite, and I'd say what my least favourite moment was probably that Spurs equaliser. I hated that. Because that was in the stupid phase where we were dropping points for no reason, and we deserved to win that game. And That's probably my least favourite, to be honest, because it was such an avoidable situation. Because we just got back into the game, like we scored in like the 85th minute or whatever, and then we conceded that, and then we conceded like the 90th from a stupid cross. That was really frustrating. That was a very good moment, to be fair. Spurs Chelsea, yeah, that high line 9 men nonsense. That was ridiculous. Favourite moment? It might be that Foden goal against West Ham, that first one. That was mad. That's probably the goal I celebrated the most. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much to MCFC for the incredibly generous super chats. Thank you, shout out to all my YouTube members as well. If you aren't a member but you'd like to support the channel, you'd like to get some perks as well, you can do so by clicking the little join button under the video, the link in the video description, or the pinned comment, which has got the link for YouTube membership. It's only £3 a month, but you get to support me, and you, as I say, you get lots of lovely perks as well. No hard feelings to Carnivore. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully we can move on from that. It was just a misunderstanding. I don't know when the next live is going to be. I'm so bad. I haven't done a schedule in ages. That is so my bad. But at some point in this week, we will be going live on Twitch. That's where we do more gaming stuff. So if you want more Nobbins content in your life, come over to the Twitch. It's the exact same username as on YouTube. It's just LNobbins. And I think we're actually going to do some Pokemon on Friday evening. Some 1v1ing on with viewers. So if you guys want to watch that, or if you want to play against me, it's a very we can play any game modes. You can play very simple Gen 1 mechanics. So if you want to do that, feel free to do that. So I think that, yeah, that'll be the next stream on the Friday. As I say, it'll be more. I want to try to make Friday one's community one, not Pokemon every time. Ideally, maybe a different one. I don't even know. Maybe we'll bring Fall Guys back. I would love to do that if you guys would be interested in that. No, Alf, we'll do random. You don't have to build a team. We'll just do random teams. Until then, guys, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Go follow the Twitch. Goodbye, guys.